Hello everyone and welcome to Mercurial Gems. I'm Jen.
I'm Vi.
And today we are continuing our Pluto series with our breakdown of the Pluto Capricorn. Now this one is extra special because although we attempted to get a more personal interview, Pluto Capricorn is still very young. We'll give you a few little tidbits of that. But we have all really recently lived the Pluto Capricorn most recent transit. So Pluto was in Capricorn from 2008 until 2024. So we'll discuss some of the history of what occurred in the most recent transit. We will actually talk about the last theme of the previous transit that happened from 1778 to 1797, because I definitely think there's some interesting parallels. And we'll continue with just the discussion of the links between generations. So Pluto in Capricorn is an earth sign. It is a cardinal sign. So opposite to Capricorn is Cancer. So the Pluto Cancer we've already done within this series. So if you're drawing patterns or you're looking at maybe your parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and you want to play with some of the dualities, Pluto Cancer is connected. And at those two opposition points, we also will have Pluto Libra, which we've also gotten to do in our series. So all of the Pluto Cancers, which for us is my grandma, was at a square when Pluto went into Libra. And for Pluto Libra, they experienced their square when Pluto was in Capricorn this most recent transit.
So they're fresh off of it.
Yeah.
If you are, we talked about this a little bit in last episode, that if you are experiencing your square and you want to get a little bit of life advice, even if they're not very Pluto, forward, they don't really fully understand the astrology of it all, just giving themes around the date frame of 2008 to 2024, you might crack the code a little bit.
Yeah, the themes are happening whether we see it or not. So as always, we have the intro to Pluto, but Pluto's energy is all about rebirth, transformation. It pulls everything up to the surface. It's very catalyzing planet. In our birth chart, it's where we probably experience a lot of shadows, but then a lot of rising from the ashes, phoenix energy. So it is a tricky spot of our chart that we have to learn to make peace with and learn how to kind of shed some of the pain that can come with the initial hard lessons that Pluto brings. But it's also a place where we have extreme power if we know how to use it wisely and not fall into some of the extremes of power and control play that just comes with Pluto sort of in its more shadowy form.
Yeah, and then the Capricorn energy added to that is very, I think we always say daddy energy. If Cancer's mom, then Capricorn is dad. It's much more structured, it's so stereotypical of really takes career or work super seriously, especially in the society in which we've created for earth signs. I think we've talked about this on the channel before, but Jen and I both believe that if society was structured a little differently and not so capitalistic forward, that these earth signs would be less seen as they really want to go to work.
Yeah.
And instead, I think the Capricorns would be the ones making sure that the structures in society are always improved and at their peak functioning
efficiency.
Yeah, peak efficiency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the workaholic archetype for Capricorn, I think, is not it. I think Capricorn's just really good at goal setting and charging at something. And where Capricorn doesn't work towards a specific goal, they can feel like everything's just collapsing. Capricorn is a cardinal sign like Aries, Cancer, and Libra. And so they need something to charge at. They need something to fix their energy towards. And sometimes that will ebb and flow for Capricorn, and especially the Pluto Capricorn archetype. We really saw a lot of collapse of structure. So let's talk about 2008 to 2024. We'd also love to hear your personal lived experience within that time frame. When Pluto moved into Aquarius, we did a lot of reflection about what we learned in that era. So what we saw is right off rip, we had the stock market crash,
almost
which was
to the day.
It's pretty insane. If you are skeptical about astrology, the timing could not have been more wild when Capricorn rules our structure systems, and we had a crash that led to like so many people's businesses collapsed. The economy like really shifted at that point. It caused a lot of people that had built something up to have it crash and collapse. And our government system just like all started kind of fraying at the seams even from that initial shift. I was pretty young when this happened. Like I would have been a sophomore in high school. If he was even younger in middle school.
I was in middle school. I'm a child.
But I do feel like it was the very first like time I was like hearing about something. Like I was seeing the stress of my parents and just like adults in general, like really panicking.
Well, and for me, my father is like, especially at the time, was like way more entrepreneurial. Like I think it was right around the time he sold his first business that at least he had when I was born, and then was getting into a whole other lucrative little more luxurious business that then I think he really struggled with. Like I watched him struggle because now all of a sudden these like frivolous spendings weren't happening as often because everyone was like, oh, what do we do like if this is all the money that we have?
Yeah, and some of the other things that I really remember at that time was there was like a very interesting shift in sort of like, so Barack Obama became president, which was like very huge.
That felt like a positive direction.
Yeah, and we were like breaking that was the first non-white man, which was like really nice as far as the Pluto archetype goes of wanting to create change. We finally saw a shift, but then that was very interesting. I mean, Obama ended up like opening doors for LGBTQ rights, which was very, it's crazy. It took so long, and he still had to kind of inch into it carefully because there was still so many systems in place of like, if you spoke something that was outside of the biases of what had been normalized, you could like have your whole career tanked down. So
he brought being able to be an open queer into the military became a reality. We also got to see queer marriage legalized in America at the time. We had Black Lives Matter begin in 2013. This is when the Trayvon Martin incident happened, and obviously, there's been several incidents since that have encouraged and increased this. But from 2013 to, I would say, 2021 was like peak movement.
Yeah, and this movement really was tearing down just the structure systems of police brutality and honestly systematic racism, like really understanding the links. Like this stuff was already happening, but that really got conversation started. It also led to just like more open insight to how much we are perpetuating a system that continuously causes the same cycle to repeat. And I think it was like really beautiful in its initial waves to be able to bring awareness to something that hadn't been really put in the forefront. And that is very Pluto Capricorn. And we also had the Me Too movement, which really ripped the veil off of how many people have experienced authority taking advantage of them. And it was really a big sweep of discussing things that had previously been kept secret, that was also tearing some of the structure and the flooring out from powerful people using their power to then manipulate others. And that's very Capricorn.
Yeah, and I just wanted to tag on that between these two movements, what you were really seeing is that, like, sure, for example, Black Lives Matter, like, sure, segregation doesn't exist anymore, but racism is still alive and well in America. And then with Me Too, like,
sure, women are starting to be in power positions more often, but at what cost?
Yeah, we're often still abused. And also, too, just the normalcy of the over-sexualization of women at any age, I think is really what Me Too really brought out, was that just because not everyone talks about it doesn't mean it's not happening in front of our faces, which I think has laid some very strong foundations to what we're seeing right now in real time with everything else happening. And I know we're out of Pluto Capricorn, but I think these things set the tone for what is now, you know, what's happening as we record this.
Yeah, well, you have to think of the time frame. So we are now like a little over a year into Pluto Aquarius, but at the very grand finale of Pluto, when it was sitting in its final degrees, there was the Epstein files being released. They're, you know, not fully. We definitely are in it now, but it was being talked about. You know, all these things towards the very end of Pluto got even louder than where they started in like the midpoint of the Pluto transit, and then kind of unlocked. And I think the pandemic is another really big thing to talk about. First of all, it kind of stopped the structures in the system just like moving, because I think everyone had just been trying to kind of keep up and flow. And it was this huge disruption, not only in the United States, but worldwide. And this disruption led to finally a reflection of the very Cancer polar opposite to Pluto Capricorn of staying at home, what our needs were, like what our emotions were, how we actually felt about the life that we had created around ourselves. And it toppled so many things. Not only was it a horrific tragedy with how many lives were lost and like figuring out how it was handled, it also kind of started creating this ripping of, oh, wow, you believe this? Oh, wow, you believe that? We weren't just like going through the motions. It became this very polarizing thing. Like, I remember people not believing COVID was actually happening. Meanwhile, I'm losing people every day in the nursing home. There was like these really powerful conversations happening of what people were seeing of our society.
If I can throw in as well, like in 2008 with the stock market crash, I've kind of made this joke humorously multiple times, like shame on me for being in middle school in 2009 and not owning real estate, but we also didn't shift our society at all to accommodate for the fact that our economy crashed. Instead, we just kept trudging forward. With COVID, it forced us all to stop in a way that we would have never stopped. And we kind of, you just said it, like some of us didn't even stop. Some of us were like, I don't even think this is real. I think it's a conspiracy. And although I love a good conspiracy, that was real, y'all. But what happened is it also was a moment where people were allowed to reflect in a way that they haven't had probably since Pluto Cancer. And the way of how do I connect to my family? All of a sudden, when you weren't allowed to hug your grandma and you had to stay 6 feet away to make sure she didn't get sick, it really made you appreciate like all of the little things in our lives that we got to take for granted. That easy access. And then of course, you know, especially speaking more future tense, like life again went on, but I think this time something has changed much more than it did in 2008 with that initial structure crash. Like, I don't think we necessarily found the highest expression in that 2020 to like 2023. It honestly was just the end of Pluto Capricorn was COVID, really. And I don't think we necessarily found the exact right structure, especially when we ended the finale of Pluto Capricorn re-electing Trump, when we already saw how that went the first time. I do think there is a large structure, like you said, there's this split. So there are people who just kind of went back to the norm, but I feel like there's a lot more people now that are awakened, that do see that we need more community, which is very Cancerian and opposed to Capricorn. Like, we need to have connection with the people around us and care about the people around us. And I think that is probably the most beautiful thing that came out of such a horrific tragedy too. That wasn't just like trauma in an isolated spot either. That was a worldwide pandemic. Like, that was something that we all experienced. So even if you hadn't experienced trauma up until then, this has been something that we all can relate to. And I feel like even people who deny it, like, they still do know it. There's no way you don't know at least one person who died allegedly from COVID if you don't believe. But like, you know what I mean? Like, some people just didn't come back, and that's crazy. Or a lot of us who did get COVID have long COVID symptoms where we're still recovering from, and we're quite literally not even able to go back to that life of like hustle and bustle. Like, I don't think I could ever work a 40-hour-a-week corporate, like peak Capricorn vibe job ever again and be well. Just a thought.
Yeah, we created like a term called the new normal. Like it actually like shifted the course of our reality. And you brought up another point too, like Trump got elected in 2017, and that also was like so Pluto, Capricorn, of like these authority figures that you thought were just like crooked businessmen, celebrity, got to be in this powerful position, which became this like really insane reality shift, you know, and just like seeing that and then watching all this stuff and then to actually have an impeachment happen and then he still got to be president again. Like our system is not putting in the right stops. And like I think anyone who had trusted our systems, like a lot more people woke up to the dysfunction that exists within that since this kind of thing was able to happen. And we also started seeing the biggest wealth gap between the top, 1% and everybody else, which, shows the power and control play of Capricorn. It got really separate there. And then, it kind of became like two worlds, like this billionaire club and then the rest of us. And I think that really set the tone for what was going to be the next shift as Pluto went into Aquarius. Towards the end of 2024, like so many things had happened at that point to wake us up to the corruption so that there could be a rebuild of like that earthy reality. But then with that awareness of Pluto Cancer and like our needs and our emotions and our sense of safety and what we needed to actually call in.
Yeah, one more thing I want to tack on to this most recent Capricorn, because I know we're going to blip back into the other history, is pre-2008, like everything worked so differently. Like I remember the first few iPhone apps, the iPad came out during Pluto Capricorn too. And I remember like you used to just purchase an iPhone app. Like it might be $16, but then you get to like edit all your photos fun and funky fresh, but you bought that app and then that's it, period. You get to use it. Or you buy the video game, that's it, period. You have it, you have access to it. And now I was just complaining about this recently. Like, I don't think there is an app you can just purchase or download for free and then it doesn't ask money of you. I know in the gamer community, we talked about this a little bit in Pluto Sag, but I was raised around gamers myself. And I know there's like no game, especially for those who play more of the like first person shooters or just like the multi-online game things, like you kind of pay to win now. Like it doesn't have to do with skill set. It's, did you spend the $60 for the game or did you spend $60 plus this, and this? And I know that goes into our editing software. Like I can't just purchase an editing app anymore. I can purchase it for the year. And then if I don't want to give them another $60 next year, then I just don't have editing software anymore. And so like that feels very Pluto Capricorn to me, that we've learned how to nickel and dime everything's a subscription. You can't just own anything anymore.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just the world that was more in the 3D, like physical reality. We also have this whole separate world now on our phones that we're having to deal with, which really did set up the tone for Pluto Aquarius, that kind of technology falls into. But we definitely saw the peak of the structures, all the businessmen having to take advantage of like this whole new platform to utilize and seeing the extremes of it.
Especially tech billionaires. I have to say, as we're talking about this, and then we can totally go into like the other history, but at least as far as every generation we've talked about, I feel like each generation had such vastly different like themes and structures at play. Like it didn't feel like it played very cohesively into the next one, as well as Capricorn moving into Aquarius feels. Like if Capricorn didn't hit its precipice and peak the way it did, like, like you said, innovation, technology, it's also the humanitarian placement and like the greater good of the collective. And I just think where Pluto Capricorn ended really did set up so perfectly for Pluto Aquarius that I feel like we're already a little more evolved into it just a couple years in than any of the other Plutos. I feel like one or two things would come out.
I a little bit disagree with that because like the first year of Pluto Capricorn, the stock market crash was very volume up. And then this first year of Pluto Aquarius has been very volume up. So I do think it plays off of like one extreme and the next.
But that's what I'm saying though, because when we did Pluto Sag, I don't feel like we had volume up. I don't think we had it for Pluto. Even Pluto Scorpio, like the actual lived experience versus, so, we're always playing at two modalities here. We're playing the transit, that was someone's lived like transit. And then we have the natal Pluto that we speak to. And so I feel like for when people have lived the other ones, it just didn't feel as loud as fast, or I guess as intense as fast. I agree that Pluto Capricorn really came in with a bang, but even then it was like, bang, okay, we're just gonna act normal. And then it started like digressing more. And maybe that's just because I'm the most conscious I ever have been at the very beginning of this Pluto transit. So that it might truly just be a bias for me, but that's at least the energy I feel off of it, is that the intensity of Capricorn has really triggered the intensity right off rip of Pluto Aquarius. But even this Pluto Capricorn was the first more stretched out Pluto in a while. And this one's even longer. This is going to be the longest Pluto transit since Pluto Cancer. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's also it. Maybe they started getting more intense faster because they slowly are stretching out again. Mm-hmm. That's my thought.
Yeah. So when we look at 1762 to 1788, just to give a couple little blueprints, there was major pandemics before. So this was something that also had happened throughout history. You can see multiple documented across the world. And then some of the greatest empires were born the last time Pluto was in Capricorn. The Roman Catholic Church, the Christian Church, played off in previous like Pluto Capricorn transits, and that's even more zoomed out. Like
that's really interesting though.
Yeah,
especially because like I feel like during especially COVID, like those same structures did get almost like a boost.
Yeah, and then the 1762 to 1778 specifically, we had the American Revolution. So that was the time when the American Empire, as it was, got taken down a peg and had to be put down. So this is exactly what we saw in this most recent of having to take the power structures at B down a peg. And then looking at even previous, so Pluto's in Capricorn in 1515 to 1532, which there was a lot of reformation of the church and how it functioned. I know as someone who was raised very evangelical Christian, especially from 2008 to 2024, the hashtag deconstruction or ex-evangelical became really popular because all of us were deconstructing the extremes of religion trauma. And that also really mirrors a lot of what history had taught us.
Can I just zip you back just a second ago? You had mentioned in the 1762 to 1788 time frame, we had the American Revolution. Do you think in this last bit of Pluto Capricorn that what we were really seeing is that same kind of ego? I don't necessarily want to say ego death, but like because of our collective American ego, we are where we are now because maybe those energies were still trying to play with us and we doubled down on the more unhealthy behavior behind it.
No, I think we had a revolution. I really do. I think the revolution looks a little different than like holding weapons and battling it out. I think it was a revolution a lot more of the psychological and the structure systems internally.
No, I think
what
you're
they
right.
were built on. I just don't think it quite looks like what it once did, but I do think it was an evolution in the right direction from the beginning till the end. I just think that we have now more work to mirror it in our current reality.
I guess it was a lot more digital this time because part of the whole reason the whole TikTok debacle happened was because we were utilizing this outside of the US economy source to help fund, like our government might be funding this thing, but just because we don't agree with that doesn't mean we have to buy into it. Let's utilize this source that doesn't give them any money, and then utilize that money to then donate to, so like even if you didn't have anything to give, like people were still like able to mass come together and give help in the right direction regardless of what the government was doing. So I guess you're right, like the revolution just looks very different now.
We also had the French Revolution and previous Pluto Capricorn transits in 1542. There was also revolutions in China, Japan, yeah, and several more. Honestly, very much so, Pluto and Capricorn is a down of the structures. And then there was also war against religious persecution, also amplifying, which was also really happening. And I think we use the new kind of technology to kind of voice and discuss this, but these big movements did have ripple effect. Even if it felt like, you know, we couldn't perceive it as much, it did shift the direction of where companies were putting their money. But it is in the final kicking and screaming, especially as it exited. And I do think now for the Pluto Aquarius, we are having to start the beginnings of rebuilds.
That's really interesting. I'm like chewing on all of the themes around the church and in those 3 time frames. And the one thing that popped in my head was those signs that everyone put in their yard. That was like faith over fear. But even like you said, like hashtag deconstruction or hashtag ex-evangelical, I know to you all, you found your freedom within that, and that is beautiful. And if you're watching this, I'm so proud of you because I know that shit's not easy. But I also can see that those who are still indoctrinated see that as an attack on the church, see it as like something deeply bad, when all you guys really did was use your very developed prefrontal lobes to go, questioning, reasoning. A plus B does not equal F. But like, I can see how that's an attack for people.
Well, I think we stopped putting our power outside of ourselves and really learned to find it within, which is the alchemy of Pluto Capricorn into Pluto Cancer, is trusting your intuition, trusting your emotions, not putting your power and authority, but understanding just the wisdom of your own emotions and your own body. Like that to me is the ultimate sense of safety. And anytime we outsource our power, it's an issue. And I do think like watching Pluto Libra generation go through the Pluto Capricorn square, I honestly think it was really beautiful, because I do think they took a lot of their self-autonomy back. And stopped giving so much power away. And they were a really good example for how to work with the energy that was, you know, maybe a little harder to read for us, like younger people, as we were living it. Yeah.
You always give me so much. And if anyone ever sees me dazing off while Jen's talking, it's because in real time while she's talking about this, I'm just like chewing on so much more than what you're saying, and I'm like playing with the energies. Just for the record, like I am so deeply immersed in this project.
And it's fascinating. We've been doing timelines of our families, so this is all very interesting. And then for our lived experience, our Pluto Capricorn generation is still, what would be the oldest? So
I think it's like 18. I think my oldest niece is Pluto Capricorn.
So it was 2008. So
yeah,
the oldest they could be would be
right now is 18.
Okay.
Because 2028 will be 20. So 17, 18.
So currently our youngest Pluto Capricorn, who were born with it natally, are about 17 to 18 years old. So the oldest. So they were born into a broken reality. Like in a lot of ways, what was built, like, you know, was just a crumbling society. So it'll be very interesting to watch this group start going into their adult years and figuring out like how we all structure and build together. I have my nieces who are 9 and 6 that we did decide to talk to them a little bit about how it feels to be a Pluto Capricorn, to see if there was any themes that emerged even from a young little brain. So with that, here's just a couple little things that we shared and talked about.
We have with us the lovely Mila and Harper. And what we want to hear your thoughts and opinions on is going to be telling us what you feel about the world, what you feel about just how you think society is, the people around you. I just want to hear your brain on what your thoughts are.
What is society?
All the people. When you look around and you're like, what is going on in the world? What would you have to say about that?
I don't know.
Fair.
What about you, Mila?
Any opinions of the world?
Actually, yes, I have one.
Okay. Let's hear it.
How was the world made?
Oh, you're proposing a question. That's a good question. You guys both want to be when you grow up, right? What do you think your life is going to be like when you grow up?
I want to be a teacher.
Oh, that's fun.
I want to
Why?
be an astronomer.
Oh, tell us why.
I like space and everything we don't know about it.
I like that.
I like space too.
Same. Clearly. And Harper, why do you want to be a teacher?
I want to be a teacher because I like taking care of kids.
I love that. You could change one thing about the world. What would you change?
No.
Go.
So people wouldn't throw trash on the ground.
Right.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
What about you, Mila?
Just like everything that's like bad.
So it's just good vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about the world? How it is now?
I feel like right now for like the government, it's like not the best place.
Yeah. It's been crazier.
Much.
It's good that you don't have to think about that too much when you're younger. And then it gets more annoying. So it would be nice if it could be better.
Yeah.
Yeah. You look very official with a coffee cup. Something that feels like a challenge sometimes in your life right now. What is something that frustrates you?
Like people ignoring me and my voice not being heard.
That's real.
That's her projector.
Yeah, it feels good to know that you're being understood. I like to be understood.
Me too.
We both get frustrated when we don't feel like we're understood.
I shut down very fast. Oh, Harper has another one.
Agree.
Oh, you agree?
Yeah. Who are some people that you look up to that you think inspire you? Harper?
Jack. Oh, she means her boyfriend, Jack.
That's sweet. That's
Okay.
sweet. Why does he inspire you? Do you have a why? Okay. That's okay.
What about you, Mila?
My Aunt Amanda.
Yeah.
I love that. It's more like a celebrity or famous person you guys like think is pretty cool.
Billie Eilish.
She's a good one. How much money do you guys think you need to buy a house?
Like 500 million thousand. Probably like 5,000.
Yeah.
Maybe. That feels like a lot. If the whole world would listen to your words, what would you tell them?
Number one, to be kind and caring. Everyone.
That's a good one.
Number one, people eat like really cute animals and stuff, so I would try to stop that.
Be kind to animals. What I'm hearing.
Buy a house that's $1.
That would be so great.
I too want to buy a house that's $1.
Same.
You just have $1. Oh, I can buy a house.
That's a great message for the world.
Yeah.
If you could just make that happen, that'd be great.
Houses could be free, so homeless people would finally have a house.
Right.
Yeah.
If it was $1, that'd be pretty simple, right?
Yeah, just earn $1 or just find one on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be lovely.
Be a quarter.
Oh, even better.
I like your reverse inflation.
Any other messages to give to the world?
Yes, it's Yes, I have a million more.
Mm-hmm.
So let's read the first one.
Are we getting
Blah,
a
blah,
total
blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah.
deep?
I see your reading skills have improved since the last time we saw you. Oh, you have questions?
Are we getting interviewed?
Yes, you have an interview now.
Okay.
What is your favorite food?
Nachos.
Pizza.
What's your favorite kind of flower?
Sunflower.
Same.
What sign are you?
Geminis.
I'm a Gemini too. Our birthdays are 2 days apart.
Mm-hmm.
What sign are you?
Pisces. Sagittarius.
Nice.
It's
The
a very
mutable crew.
mutable
crew.
We're just missing Virgo.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we got Will.
Oh yeah,
Represent.
the quad is here.
You think about when you see like the older kids, like are you excited to get older? Or are you excited? Do you like to be just the age you're at?
I feel like a 50-50. I want to be like older so I can make my own rules and stuff, so I'm not pushed to do something I'm not wanting to. But I want to stay younger so I'm not having to pay a lot of money for certain things.
That's
That's
fair.
very fair. It's very wise.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you. I will be showing off my crystals.
Okay. I love this.
This one, tiny one.
You were president. What would the first thing be that you would do?
I want to be kind and caring.
I love that.
Okay. What about you, Mila?
I'd probably stop all the building more houses
Mm-hmm.
because we already have enough houses.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't have enough, you could just live with someone else. We have so many. We have so many.
We get a little wasteful.
Why don't
And
you
we cut
live
down too many trees.
Yeah. Why don't you live at your friend's house?
Mm-hmm. True. You guys were great to interview.
Thank you so much for helping us.
So what we were hearing from the interview was a little bit awareness about housing, a little bit awareness that our world just deserves to kind of work a little bit more together.
I hear a little bit of that Cancer opposition with, why can't we just all live with our friends? Or let's make it, why isn't houses $1?
And yeah, it'll be beautiful to kind of paint a new reality with this group as we go. We hope this was some interesting food for thought. We'd love to hear any personal experience, or you could just kind of think through your own friends, personal experience, family experience for that time frame, and just do a little reflection about it, because we are still just fresh out of it. So we get to be the historians that talk about what that time frame felt and looked like. And I know for myself that I feel very lucky to have been younger and be able to see the corruption at such a young age instead of buying into the system so much younger and then having collapse. Major props to Pluto Libra, who I think had a pretty big fall with all of these things being just older and a little bit more established. So thank you for facing it for us.
I do feel like our Pluto Scorpio shines so bright, in every single Pluto after us. Even here, we were on the really precipice of all of that. You're still in high school enough that you're okay, well, you can't do it exactly the right thing, so we're going to do a little different.
And I'll chime in one final thought that we had. We thought it was so interesting that we actually just closed out the final cardinal sign. So Aries is the first cardinal sign, and then we go into Cancer, then we go into Libra, then we go into Capricorn. So we have closed out now a cardinal cycle within Pluto, which is very fascinating, because for the other Pluto generations that are living that we've talked about within this series, we still have some time frames. So Pluto Scorpio is in there, Pluto Aquarius square.
Until 2044.
Yeah, and then we go into Pluto and Pisces, which will be the final closeout for the mutable. And then we will restart an entire new Pluto cycle. So that was even some interesting food for thought.
And to like hold weight of time to this, those 2 cycles will not be fully closed out for another at least 40-45 years.
Do you want me to give?
Yeah, I just don't know the end of Pluto Pisces, but I know we're at least
2068.
That cycle, those 2 cycles won't be fully closed out until 2068, just to like hold the weight of like how much time is slowing for us to like really digest these next 2 Pluto transits, which feels very end of a full cycle. Like it's not just about the sign, but about the wheel as a whole as well.
So thank you guys for watching another episode. We will see you in the next one. Bye.